Pakinggan nyo si Ninoy Aquino na nagsasalita. Dito ay dineliver niya ang speech na ito. Napakagaling siya na speaker. 1981, doon sa Amerika niya dineliver ang talumpati ito. Nakapunta siya sa Amerika nung pinayagan siya ni Marcos na humingi ng furlough o medical furlough para maggamot siya sa kanyang sakit. Kasi bago yan, nag-hunger strike si Ninoy Aquino. At tinakbo siya sa ospital kaya madali na siya, mantik na siya mamatay. Sa takot ni Marcos na bibirahin siya ni Ronald Reagan, sobrang takot niya talaga sa Amerika. Hindi na magbibigay ng pera ang Amerika sa Pilipinas. Kaya pinayagan niya na papunta sa Amerika kahit na may sentensya na death penalty si Ninoy Aquino. Ang nag-death penalty sa kanya ay ang military court, martial court. Martial law. Kasi martial law nga eh. So ito po ang sinabi ni Ninoy Aquino. Pakinggan nyo. Siguro naman, makarelate yung kasing edad ko, baka karelate dito. Pero yung hindi ko kasing edad, mga bata, sana maintindihan ninyo kung anong ibig sabihin ng mga sinasabi ni Ninoy Aquino dito.
I have been asked by many people, what is the actual situation in the Philippines? I think this Japanese explained the situation in the Philippines very well. As you very well know, the Japanese have a difficulty pronouncing their R's. Manila becomes Manira. And so this Japanese gentleman stood up and said, "My dear Filipino people, you are very lucky. And I consider," he said, "the Filipino people the most lucky people in Asia." And the people were, of course, surprised. They wanted to know why they were lucky. He said, "You know why you are lucky? You have a president who robs you, and you have a first lady who robs you more." They brought me to a mountain hideout in the Sierra Madre and placed me in a box. I had only my brief and my t-shirt. I refused to eat because I thought they were poisoning me. There was nothing in the room, barely nothing. And I had nothing to do but twiddle my thumb. And for the first time in my life, I heard the ticking of every second, and I was counting every second into minutes. And as the minutes marched into hours, and the hours into days, and days into weeks, I knew what loneliness meant. For 7 years, I was not allowed to see the moon and the stars. There were days where they left me all alone by myself. I had no reading material. I had nothing. I was twiddling my thumb. I would walk and walk and walk across my room. Just a room of about 4 meters by 5 meters. Hoping that I'll get tired. And then when I get tired, I will fall asleep. Knowing that tomorrow will be the same. My friends, I cannot understand the temerity and the gall of these people. Kang ganon, be practical. Talagang ganon eh. Makibagay ka na, napakalakas ka ng bagyo eh. Ikaw lahi ka mahihirapan diyan. Mag-isa ka dyan. Hindi balik kang ganon. Kung ayaw mo nang sumulat, tumawag ka na lang sa telepono, ibulong mo na lamang. Ayos na. I would like to tell you that I was tempted in my almost 7,285 days in prison to do just that. I am only human. Ako po isang tao lamang. When my wife and children would visit me and they would leave me at dusk after 1 hour, I also would like to enjoy the embrace of my children and the peace of my home. But if I gave faith in that conviction, if I refused to accept the jurisdiction of a military court, and because I refused to defend myself, they will give me the death sentence, I vowed to myself that because you have elected me to the Senate and I gloried in its pomp, therefore it is now time that I must suffer the consequences of my act. And because I knew, they were paraded before me. I never saw them in my life, and yet they were pointing fingers at me, accusing me of crimes I never committed. They admitted to crimes. They said they were communists. They said they were number 3 in the communist hierarchy. And yet the government set them free and I was in jail. But I knew that somehow I will regain my freedom. Maybe not in this world, but elsewhere. And I knew that sometime, somewhere, Mr. Marcos and I will meet. And in that meeting, I will have my satisfaction. They allowed me to run, and they made a little corral for me. They brought me out between 11 and 12 o'clock. Every day, they brought me out to exercise. On that particular day of March, as I was walking around my little corral, all of a sudden I developed a chest pain. And then the pain was so terrible that I sat down and I asked my guard to massage my chest and asked him to bring me back. I called for the army doctors. They checked me and they said, muscle spasm lang po yan. That's nothing. Just take a rest. And so I rested. But after 40 days, I was so weak, I could not even take a bath. I was shaking. And I told my doctor, I said, look, doctor, I don't know, I said, your diagnosis or its accuracy, but I am very, very weak. Please bring me to the Philippine Heart Center and get me an examination. That doctor, fortunately, on that morning, after 40 days, on April 10 to 28, his name is Colonel Bayani Garcia, came to my office and said, yes, Senator, sabi niya, I will now recommend that they bring you to the Heart Center because apparently you're not getting well. Mr. Marcos has just arrived from Honolulu. I will make my recommendation. And I wrote a letter and I told them, if you do not bring me to the Heart Center, I will be constrained to appeal to the Supreme Court. And so he said, no, sir. Ako na pong bahala. I will talk to the Commanding General. At 1 o'clock that day, a knock on my door came and I was given a letter from the Commanding General. I thought it was the approval of my request. When I opened the letter, it was handwritten note and it said, my dear Senator Aquino, it is with deep regret that I inform you, your doctor, Colonel Bayani S. Garcia, died of a massive heart attack an hour ago. If you were in my place, here is your doctor telling you it's a muscle spasm, tapos bigla siyang namatay, how would you feel? Finally, on May 5, 1980, almost midnight, they took me from my cell and they brought me to the Heart Center. That was a Monday. The doctors at the Heart Center met me, took preliminary tests, and they told me, Senator, they said, tomorrow we will begin the battery of tests. And so I slept, but I could not sleep. That was the first time I was brought out of my cell in almost 7 years and 7 months. And there were beautiful nurses, and the first time I was seeing women in 7 years and 7 months. And naturally, I was watching my heart as it was palpitating. But as I sat down after that x-ray, I was just about to sip my coffee. All of a sudden, I got hit again by a terrible chest pain that was almost choking me and my arm was getting paralyzed. So I told the nurse, I said, Miss, please bring me to bed. So they brought me to bed and they put all of those gadgets. And all of a sudden, the needles were squiggling. And they called the doctor. The doctor looked at the tracings. And then after 1 hour, they came back to me and said, Mr. Senator, we are canceling all tests. I said, why? Because we already know what's wrong with you. I said, what's wrong with me? You have blocked arteries, and you must undergo an emergency triple bypass. Otherwise, you may die in 6 days to 6 months. I told them, where can I have my operation? Dito lang po, sa Heart Center. And that's the Heart Center of Imelda Marcos. And I asked, who can do the operation for me? The director said, ako lang po. There are 2 other assistants if you want, but I'm the only one performing in the center. He was the director of the Heart Center, handpicked also by Imelda. I said, Doctor, pagpaliban mo na ka ako. Thank you na lang. I said, if they cannot operate on me in America, please bring me to my cell. The truth is, I did not want them to touch me in Manila. And so there was a crisis. The Deputy Minister of Defense came to my room. He tried to talk me out of my decision. I said no. And so finally he said, are you willing to write a letter to Marcos requesting to be brought to America? I said yes. Eh siguro kang ganun, mas maganda kung mag-iwan ka ng 2 anak mo, parang maniwala na babalik ka. And so I wrote my letter to Mr. Marcos and made 2 covenants. That if I leave, I shall return. And 2, that while in America, I shall not speak out against this regime. And I also said, I will only bring 3 of my children with me. That's also true. But of course, the other 2 were already abroad. And then, my friends, that was a Wednesday, when I wrote that letter, all of a sudden, on Thursday morning, May 8th, my wife visited me early in the morning, and she told me, the hospital is crawling with Metrocom cars. Guards all over the place. Baka kami magbibisita sa'yo. Then all of a sudden, my guards started jumping, putting their barong Tagalog, hiding all of their guns. I said, tama, may darating na VIP. And then lo and behold, the beautiful one ascended into my suite. She came, and she was really beautiful. She has not aged. There's a plane leaving at 6 o'clock. You can be in that plane. Very simply, Christian socialism means to me an equal opportunity for advancement and the full development of the human being. This means that the poorest person in the land must be given the equal opportunity for education. Number 2, the Christian socialist believes that the great legitimizer of government is the ballot, not the bullet. And therefore, because we believe in the ballot, we believe in a majority rule. So that if the majority should opt and should win in a contest, then the minority should accept the majority mandate. But we put a collatilla, that the majority, even if it wins, must respect minority rights. Number 3, we do not believe in the exploitation of man by man, meaning we do not believe in unbridled capitalism, where the rich will get richer and the poor will get poorer. In a developed country in America, you may have capitalism, but in a country like the Philippines with very meager resources and a developing economy, we must harness our meager economy and maximize their benefit. And therefore, there should be centralized economic planning, and the government must actually give the direction as to prevent any overlap. Finally, I do not believe in the monopoly of basic industries. Why should one family monopolize one electric company in the Philippines? Or why should one family monopolize the ownership of one airline company in the Philippines? Or why should one company monopolize the telephone company in the Philippines? Since the government is funding all of this to begin with, these families are borrowing from government institutions and must depend on government guarantees. Then I say, let the government own them and let the people share in the profit. Christian socialism, therefore, is nothing more than democracy. Mr. Marcos is a human being, and Mr. Marcos has a conscience. I may even concede that in his own fashion he thinks he's doing right. It is therefore our duty and our obligation to enlighten him. It is our duty and our obligation to tell Mr. Marcos that maybe he is wrong. But definitely, Mr. Marcos is a human being, and I have not lost hope that we can still reach him in the recesses of his conscience. I've always said that Mr. Marcos is the original terrorist. He is right now employing state violence. But if we use violence against him, he will only justify the use of more violence against us. And since he's a more violent man, he has more forces of repression, we will be the loser. In other words, as Gandhi said, if he uses violence against you, do not give him a reason to justify his violence. Because if you're not violent, then before the bar of public opinion and before God, he's the only sinner. This struggle can only mean victory for all of us. It will mean victory because we are different from those that we oppose. Those that we oppose are happy with the material wealth. But for how long? I have written Mr. Marcos letters upon letters, and I told him, read your history, my friend. I have no hatred for you. I only have pity, because if you do not see and you do not remove the calluses from your eyes, if you do not remove your blinders, you will meet the same fate of all the dictators of history. What happened to Mao Zedong? His wife is now in jail. What happened to Peron? Isabelita is now in jail. What happened to Franco? He's now forgotten. What happened to the Shah? For all of the things that he did, the monuments to his greatness have already been torn down. There has never been a single dictator in history that has lived forever. And so I tell Mr. Marcos, study the lessons of history before it is too late. I am going back to the Philippines, and if I have to go back to jail, so be it. While it's true, Mr. Marcos, I said that after my 8 years in prison, I have lost appetite for office. I am no longer seeking the presidency of this land. I'm not seeking anymore any office in this country. But believe me, I said, when I tell you that while I have vowed never to enter the political arena again, I shall dedicate the last drop of my blood to the restoration of freedom and the dismantlement of your martial law.
So, nakita niyo si Ninoy Aquino, ha? Mga kabataan na nanonood sa akin ngayon, yan po si Ninoy Aquino. Napakagaling. Napaka-pure yung puso. Diyan mo makikita ng isang tao ay tapat sa puso, tapat sa tao, tapat sa kanyang damdamin. Siya po ay mataas ang karakter bilang isang tao. Siya po ay isang tao na nagmamahal talaga sadya sa tao. At ibinigay niya yung kanyang buhay para sa mga Pilipino. Biro mo, alam niya na siya'y papatayin noong August 21, 1983. And yet, matapang niyang hinarap ang kanyang kamatayan. Meron pa bang isang Pilipino na mas matapang pa dyan? Meron pa bang isang Pilipino sa atin sa ngayon na mas malinis pa sa taong yan? Meron pa bang mga Pilipino sa ngayon na mas tapat sa Pilipino na kapwa niya Pilipino sa ngayon? Wala pa akong nakita. Not even Duterte, not even BBM, not even whoever is that you can see here now. Not even in the opposition, no one can beat Ninoy Aquino with respect to who he was, how he loved the Filipinos. That's it. Kaya nung namatay siya, naging totoo yung sinabi niya na sinulat niya sa kay kay Senior Marcos na alalahanin mo yung mga diktador ng mundo ay wala ni isa man sa kanila ang naiwan. Lahat sila ay bumagsak ng napakatindi. Binanggit niya yung Shah of Iran, wala. Binanggit niya si Generalissimo Franco ng Espanya, wala. Binanggit niya, marami pang iba siyang binanggit na wala, tumba lahat. And the only persons that you can see who is living until now, sino? Meron akong isang kilalang tao. At isang taong ito na inalok sa kanya ang corona pero kinanggihan niya. Sino yan? Si Captain Oliver Cromwell ng Great Britain. Sino si Oliver Cromwell? Si Oliver Cromwell isang kapitan lamang, di hamak na kapitan. At siya ang nangunguna, napakagaling niyang mandirigma at lahat ng kalaban ng Inglaterra ay kanyang ginapi. Nung magkaroon ng isang hari sila na isang napaka-despotic, napakalupit na hari, marami siyang tinapakan ng mga tao, ng mga Inglatero, siya mag-akusa, siya rin magsentensya. Marami siyang pinapatay. Ano nangyari? Ang nangyari na kagaya na parang isang sundalong totoo, aklas si Oliver Cromwell at pinaguguluhan niya ang mga sundalo na nag-aklas laban sa hari. At nang nanalo siya, nagapi niya yung hari. At ang hari po ay ginilitan ng liig. Pagkatapos nun, inalok sa kanya ng House of Lords. Yung House of Lords, yan na Senado. Sa ngayon kasi Lord sila eh. Ang sa baba naman, mga congressman, sa kanila ay House of Commons. Inalok sa kanya ang corona. Tinanggihan niya. Matapos tinanggihan, umuwi siya. At namuhay ng isang pribadong mamamayan. Ganun po. He is the greatest person who has lived on earth. Wala nang tatalo sa kanya. Biro mo, tanggihan mo, corona. Ibang klase yun. Yung iba sa Pilipinas, Yayariin ang Smartmatic para makuha ang corona. Sino yan? Si Bongbong. Si Sara Duterte. Marami dyan. Panahon ni Miriam Santiago, mananalo na siya. Niyari naman ni Fidel Valdez Ramos. Panahon, natatakbo noong 2004, si Fernando Po Sr. Inagaw naman, niyari siya ni Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Sino bang talo sa mga dalawang pangyayari ito? Tao, mga Pilipino ang talo. Bakit natin pinayagan? Ang ating mga general ay hindi gumaya kay Oliver Cromwell. At sino naman ang gagaya? Sa ganitong sitwasyon, huwag natin po, ayaw ko rin na magkaroon ng discretion ang ating mga military. Sasabihin ako ano ang tama, ano ang mali. At delikado yan, agawin nila. Nag-iisa lamang po si Captain Oliver Cromwell. Hindi na mababago yun. At tingnan nyo ang bansa ng Amerika na isang bansa na walang diktador. Every now and then, papalit-palit ang presidente. Hanggang ngayon, buhay ang demokrasya sa Amerika. Kaparehas din yan sa nangyari sa Australia, sa New Zealand, sa Canada. At sa ngayon, maraming mga European Union countries na kumukopya na sa ganung sistema. Ang hindi na kumukopya dyan yung diktador na Russia. Tandaan ninyo, hindi tatagal yan si Putin. So sa ating Pilipinas ngayon, ito po ang ating, ikumpara ngayon natin ito si Noynoy Aquino kay Sara Duterte. So di ba nanuntok na sheriff? Ngayon, gumawa pa ng, ulitin natin yung panuntok niya sa sheriff. Tapos ikumpara natin sa libro niya ang kaibigan, isang kaibigan. Ito si Sara Duterte. Ulitin natin panoorin yung panununtok niya sa sheriff. Yan. Yan si Sara Duterte. Ngayon kung yan siya, titignan mo ang libro ng ginawa niya. Gumawa siya ng libro na hinihingian na ng budget na 10 milyon mula sa Kongreso na para ipapalimbag. Maglilimbag siya ng 10 worth 10 million na kopya ng libro na ginawa niya. At ano yung libro na yun? Ang libro niya ay may title na Isang Kaibigan. Yan ang cover ng kanyang libro. Isang Kaibigan. Ang kwento ng isang kaibigan po ay ganito. Merong isang kaibigan na dumating siya sa isang pagkaibigan na dapuan ng unos at nawasak ang lahat sa kanya at siya'y tumulong sa kaibigan. At yan po ang kwento ng kaibigan. Pero may kaparihong plot na istorya. Ang nangyari diyan kaparihong plot na inaakusa siya ngayon na nangungupil ng istorya. Ang title niyan ay parang The Little Owl ata yan. Yan ang istorya, no? So, sa gitna ng greatness ni Ninoy, ano ang panama ni Sara na bratness niya? Yan po ang aking puntos dito sa ngayon. Kaya po, ladies and gentlemen, naipresenta ko na yung ating programa sa ngayon at ako'y magbabati na lang sa lahat. Kinopya niya lang sa Auli. Ang Auli walang H. Okay. Kasi Howli dapat siguro. A dynamic force, karapatan ng mga tao ang pinaglaban niya laban sa sakim at abusado. Isang kahibangan authored by isang hibang. Good boy naman pala si dynamic force. Walang mag full caps lock kahit mag-comment. At sisimula ko sa taas. Si Pres Perez, si Really Asistio, si Jonaline Rosalinda, Manong Rayban Channel, Naga City, Sina May Ramos, Zene Tesner, Dalia Ayad, Manong Rayban Channel, Rems, Elia Angara, Manong Rayban Channel, Jose Abinguna, Jeffrey El Cabigor. Si Jeffrey, ito yung pong chairman ng Kabunyog dyan sa Davao del Norte. Alfred Para, support, no? Barilo Fabian, Rinaldo Garcia, Rolando Tirado, Arnel Mercenario, Yernel Dueñas, Donato Perry. Ang mamamayan ay balon ng kapangyarihan at walang makapaggapi sinuman. Ang pagkakaisa ng mamamayan ang pinakamabisang gamot sa sakit ng lipunan. Ang galing naman ng makata talaga ito si Donato Perry. I'm here na, mga kamamsi. Okay, si Sunny Day, si sino pa? Si Supermam, si Senfran. Sino pa? Best Friend, Dynamic Force. Tapos, sino pa? Lucille, Joe Catalan Opilas, Sandrew 5 Meg, Jay Watanabe, Lucille 1031, Antonio Jr. Buensoseso. Sino pa? Iwatani, Japan, I love Noynoy Aquino, matalino, guwapo, mayaman, may breeding, matapang. Tapos, Vivian Sarimo, 7 years din pala tulad kay Sen. So, Janila, tapos si Vivian Sarimo ulit, no? Sino pa? Si Crispin Rivera, Maya Pabingi. Tapos Helen Baguio, wala daw kong audio. Di ba audio naman Eleanor Claveria. Di ko makalimutan si Ninoy. Tagal naming nag-rally para kay Ninoy. Naabutan kasing edad ko to si Eleanor Claveria. Si S. True Hero, we salute Senator Benigno Ninoy Aquino. Smart, brave, excellent, bravo, honest. Okay. Helen Baguio, okay, thanks mga Ma'am Shi, sabi niya. Si Iwatani Japan, noon sa programa ni Kaper C. Lapid, mga video ni Noynoy Sr. ang napapanood. Malaki paghanga, paggalang ni Kaper C. At pagmamahal ng dating First Lady kay Noynoy. Manong Riban Channel, for me, Ninoy is better than Makoy in public speaking. Okay, Sunny Acabado, Ninoy, you are our hero. So, Alex Ulin, Rodolfo Agsalud, Eleanor Claveria, San Fran, Dynamic Force. Tapos, Iwatani, Japan, Big Yes, Manong, Riban Channel. We love him. Filipinos are worth dying for, Ninoy Aquino Jr. Loretta Grande, thanks attorney dahil sa kagagahan kahapon ni Tambalustay. Sara, maghapon sila ni Senator Risa. Ang laman ng mga balita ngayon, nakalimutan tuloy ng death anniversary nga pala ni Ninoy ngayon. Norms B, Gemma Garciniego. Tapos Rodolfo Agsalud, Joe Catalano Pilas, Raquel Cordial, Athena Barrera. Tumatagos sa puso at kalamnan ang mga tinlinya ni Senator Ninoy. Kahit pa ilang replay para pakinggan ang mga speeches niya. Napakahusay talaga. Deserve really to be our hero forever. Yung tapang at talino niya, nakikilala ko rin sa iyo ngayon, attorney. I hope so na I can equal Ninoy Aquino. Marlene King, nobody is like Senator Ninoy Aquino, the greatest among Filipinos in his generation. So, Tiger Lily, halata pang attorney, grabe kababaing tao. Watanabe, totoong na-dismantle ni Senator Benigno Aquino Marcialo. So, ni Marcos, maski di siya naging presidente, dahil sa pag-assassinate sa kanya, nagkaroon ng people's power. Tama ka. Fermi Vlog TV, sana attorney, pinakain na lang sa mga batang Pasay. Yun. Magpakain kayo. Janila, tapos good boy naman pala si Dynamic Force, sabi niya. Anyway, sino pa? Si Mia M, Ruel Kaagbay, sino pa? Mama Real, Manong Riban Channel, I'm proud of Ninoy Aquino. I myself is an Aquino, not related to Aquinos. Maria Tan, tapos si Oscar Montano, Mary B, Helen Baguio, Peter James Untuhan, Tessa Isli, Fifi Grano, Eduardo Talentino. Dapat engineer, i-compensate ka ng Senate sa pag-attend mo ng hearing. Wala, gumastos pa nga ako ng aking mga gwardiya. Maria Tan, tapos bumastos pa ako ng pamasahe ka pabalik sa Mindanao. Papunta pabalik. So the book can be printed. Libro ni Sara, ipiprinta. So Sara sira. Mary Ellen Mendoza, sa Pilipinas ay halos mga agencies, mga bata run at present kahit ang mga pera ay galing sa mga masama, sa illegal pugo. Mia M, Fede Grano, Donato Perry, Maylin Kisel, Dynamic Force, Grimer Pulang, questionable si Ninoy dahil hindi dumating sa Plaza Miranda sa LP rally nila, ay, kwento na lang yun. Tapos Ferdinand San Juan, Maria Tan, Ferdinand San Juan, tapos Mylene Quisel. So, ibig sabihin nun, kung isa-marais mo, yung mga sinabi ni Ninoy Aquino, nagkaroon ng martial law, yung mga laban-laban yun, imbis na tirahin ni Marcos, ginamit niya, dinagdagan niya pa ng bomba para magkaroon ng martial law. Ganon po yung ginawa niya. Okay? So, dito muna tayo sa ngayon at ito po si Dr. Toto Bunyog Kausing at hinihingi ko sa inyo na ang inyong suporta ay sana baka makapagbigay tayo ng bagong Ninoy Aquino sa katauhan ko. Hindi po ako nangingimi na tanggapin ang matinding hamon. So, Antonio Buencesiso, Lorenzo Mercurio, sa mga sagot ni Sara Duterte kay Hontiveros kapon, gumawa siya ng sarili niyang hukay. Kaya nga, ang leksyon talaga dito, wala talagang diktador na nananatili. Lahat ay namamatay. Kung si Kaper silapit pa, bakit? Wala namang bakit mabubuhay ka pa sa 100 na taon? Nagkamali si Percy Lapid doon. Kasi si Enrile ngayon, 102 years old na. yan ang pagkakamali ni Percy Lapid. Lagi na binamagit. Bakit? Hindi ka naman mabubuhay sa 100 taon na. Ayun. Nilampasan ni Enrile. 101 years old na siya ngayon. So, good evening, Attorney General Dr. Kausin, sabi ni PEC 0925. At nandyan lang naman tayo, no? Siguro, bago tayo umalis, kakantahan mo lang natin si Sara. Sara, Sara, okay ka na mo. Tama na yan, Sara. Okay. Magandang gabi, Sara Duterte.